how's it going?
Good.
What is this?
This is a jumpsuit with a matching vest and a pair of boots owned and worn by the Godfather of Soul, the hardest working man in show business, the late, great James Brown.
He was the hardest working man in show business.
Yes, he was.
It's because when he got on stage, he danced the entire time.
They said they used to have to pour the sweat out of these things.
I don't necessarily consider that a plus.
Okay. James Brown's an icon, and I've got something that no one else has. I received this jumpsuit, vest, and boots back in 1988. I'm asking $2,500 for the ensemble, and I won't go any lower than $2,000.
I absolutely love this. James Brown, he was just an incredible guy his entire life. I mean, everything about this guy was absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, his dance moves on stage, all the rock stars in the late 60s were copying stuff he had perfected. James Brown really was the hardest working man in show business. This guy had over 100 singles that made the charts and made almost 50 albums. The guy was an absolute legend. In the 1970s, he was dubbed the Godfather of Soul, and it's easy to see why. And where did you get this?
In 1985, I had the opportunity to interview James Brown.
Okay.
And the man who set up the interview, his name is Mark. Mr. Brown and I got along famously.
Mr. Brown and I got along famously.
Mr. Brown and I got along famously. Mr. Brown and I got along famously. In 1988, he got in trouble with the law with a high-speed chase. So he called Mark and said, get to the tour bus, get my wardrobe trunks out of there, put them someplace safe. So I'm sitting at work. Mark walks in with the boots and a wardrobe bag with this in it. And he said, Mr. Brown wants you to have these.
So, the big problem I have here is just looking at this suit. How do you know it's James Brown's? I mean, it doesn't have his name in it.
This is a picture of him wearing this particular jumpsuit. And this is a certificate of authenticity signed by his music director, Holly Ferris. There's JB on the boots.
Could be Justin Bieber's boots.
That is cold-blooded, man.
What do you want to do with it?
I would like to sell it.
And how much would you like for it?
I think $2,500 is fair. Christie's in New York had a big auction of his collection, and one jumpsuit went for $25,000. So I believe that you could get $5,000 for everything.
I mean, I can tell you right now, it's the style of James Brown. I know that. I just want someone to confirm it's James Brown.
Sure.
Okay? And if you don't mind hanging out a little bit, I know a guy who's literally the best in the business. Let me go grab it for you, okay?
Okay. I think it's important that an expert come in, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say.
So what's going on? What do we got?
James Brown jumpsuit and his boots.
There's a couple of things that I want to take a look at. You don't know when he wore this on stage?
No, I don't. I received these in 1988.
Okay, so his career hadn't been doing that good, and then he got revived with the Rocky show, right?
Yes,
Doing
Rocky IV.
Rocky IV, which was mid-'80s. A lot of the costumes I've seen from that era, they're made of very, very heavy wool. And around the middle, they've got a very thick piece of elastic. And the reason, obviously, for the very thick piece of elastic, he was a little portly.
Okay.
James Brown was always a colorful, a snappy dresser. He always wore his pants tight and high because he wanted to see his feet fly. So what are your real concerns about this?
I mean, do you really think it's James Brown's?
It's absolutely correct for James Brown. I think it's definitely his. It's definitely, everything's right for the period of being made in the 70s.
So, what's it worth?
I think with the boots and the package together, it's definitely worth $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Always a pleasure. Okay.
It was nice meeting you,
All right,
sir.
good luck. The collector's market for James Brown is fairly strong. I think it's a good collectible. It's worth having.
So what's your best price?
Warwick basically confirmed what I thought the value to be. $2,500, you sell it for $5,000.
Well, not exactly. I mean, this has to be displayed. This has to be, a frame has to be made, and on a suit like this, it's gonna cost me $500. So, I think more than fair is $2,000. I'll make anywhere between $500 and $3,000. That's the weirdness of my business.
Well, $2,250.
Okay. I'll give you $2,100. That's what I could do. I will give you $2,100. Thanks, man. Chum, write them up.
All right, I'll meet you right over there.
Well, the $2,100 is going to come in really handy. And it's nice to know that I'm not going home empty-handed.